The March of Time. Today, more than at any other time in their nation's history, the people of the United States stand in need of knowledge and of understanding. For with half the world already under the yoke of communism, those nations still remaining free look hopefully to the U.S. for leadership in the struggle to keep themselves free. That America has become the great bulwark of liberty in today's world is due in no small measure to its system of public education. Education has been a vital factor in the development of the vast continent of America. It has made possible a fabulously productive industrial and agricultural nation, not only capable of sustaining itself, but able and willing to underwrite the welfare of many other lands as well. And the assurance that the United States will remain strong depends upon its younger generation, the 26 million children now in school, who must be well prepared for the difficult years ahead. On the other side of the world lies Russia, fountainhead of communist doctrine. In the calculations of Joseph Stalin, high priority has been given to the reconstruction of schools destroyed during World War II and to the expansion of the Soviet school system. For the strategists of the Kremlin well know the importance of education to the building of a powerful nation. Steeped in the theories of Marx and Lenin, millions of Soviet workers are today toiling to make their country strong. Strong enough for their leaders to impose upon the free nations of the world their own way of life. And in anticipation of that day, Russia's youth are now being made ready. But the United States is fully alert to the ever-present threat of world communism. And in no part of the U.S. is there a clearer understanding of the intimate relation between the country's security and its system of public education than in the richly productive Middle West, heartland of America. Yet even here, thousands of children in rural areas are still getting a shoddy education in outmoded, poorly equipped schools. Such schools were common in Woodford County, Illinois, as recently as 1948. At Oleo School, with only one teacher for 8 grades, Marlia Gingrich had to spend most of her time studying while waiting for a brief period of instruction. At Kruger, Stevie Riley was alone in the 1st grade, lacking the competition and companionship that children should get through work and play with others their own age. For years, little had been done to improve Woodford's one-room schools, for many communities in the county were either unable or unwilling to support them. Will Ann Sides and her sister Della Mae pored over old textbooks. And many of the teachers themselves were poorly trained and inadequately supervised. But in Illinois, a movement for better rural schools had begun in 1943, when the Illinois Agricultural Association, a branch of the American Farm Bureau Federation, set up a committee to survey their state schools. Canvassing local superintendents, teachers, and school board officials throughout the state, the committee unearthed some basic facts.
During the past 25 years, good roads and the automobile have brought America's farm families into close contact with their town and city neighbors.
That's right. The day of the isolated country school is over. The time has come for a change.
We have to reorganize our schools and close down those so poorly attended that they cannot be operated efficiently, and transport our children to larger attendance centers. In that way, we will be able to give them a better education for the same money.
The report of the school committee was placed before the state legislature at Springfield. The findings stressed the need for new community unit school districts to be determined by practical considerations.
School districts should include areas which logically and naturally belong together, regardless of county or township lines. Roads, for example, should not be considered as boundaries, but as arteries. The homes on both sides of a road ought to be in the same district. This will permit the establishment of more economical transportation routes, and it would also preserve the common community interest.
Accepting the recommendations, the state legislature in 1947 authorized the establishment of community unit school districts. In Eureka, Woodford County's seat, as throughout the state, a citizens committee met to make plans for a community unit district. District 140 would include a sizable part of Woodford and a corner of neighboring Tazewell County. In addition to the Eureka High School, District 140 would take in 13 one-room schools and the larger grade schools in Congerville, Goodfield, and Eureka. The Davenport Elementary School in Eureka, with 325 pupils, was already overcrowded. But a local bond issue had been authorized the previous year for the construction of a new wing to cost $250,000. Since there would be plenty of space to accommodate their pupils in the larger schools, most of the district's one-room schools could well be shut down. But Congerville had already benefited to some extent by a much earlier consolidation of the schools in their local area. And many of the townspeople felt there was little more to be gained by the new district merger.
We won't have any control over our school. Those folks in Eureka will be telling us what to do.
Oh, they just want us to help pay for that new addition in that building.
Like as not, they'll try to take our school away from us. Then my child will have to spend a lot more time on the bus each day. I won't have it.
Well, I don't go for all this centralization.
The law governing the proposed consolidation required that it be approved not only by the district as a whole, but also by a clear majority of the rural voters. And Congerville was a rural community. When the votes were counted, the measure was overwhelmingly defeated. The proponents of consolidation realized for the first time that they had not fully presented their case to their neighbors in Congerville. But they lost no time in correcting the situation. T.E. Wiggins and Ralph Imhoff, Eureka school board members, called on the head of the Congerville Community Club, Kenneth Cross. They persuaded him to arrange a meeting of Congerville citizens so they could urge anew and clarify the benefits of consolidation. The citizens of Congerville, though still skeptical, nevertheless turned out en masse to give the proposal a fair and impartial hearing.
You can rest assured that you won't lose the advantages of your present school, but will, in fact, improve upon them and add to them. Furthermore, your community undoubtedly will be represented on the Board of Education so that you'll have your own spokesman to take up your problems.
And remember that under the law, Congerville cannot have an independent unit district because it does not have enough taxable property or population. So it will have to join some neighboring district. If you don't join us, your children can no longer go to Eureka High School. And if they have to go to Danvers, that would raise even more difficult problems.
In the second vote, the consolidation proposal carried both urban and rural areas by a substantial margin.